Okay, today we are going to talk about the worst anti-gun advocate ever. No, the worst anti-gun advocate is not he who must not be named. Nor is it Eric give the Mexican drug cartels guns holder the worst. Nor is Diane confiscate everyone's gun except mine Feinstein the worst. Nor is crazy Joe Biden. Okay. Now, just for the record, I was watching Ann Coulter on last night, and Ann Coulter said this, and remember that Facebook page I took a stand for, Guns for All Law-Abiding Citizens of St. Martin? They talked about this in a couple of videos. They posted videos on Facebook. Years ago, Democrats supported gun registration and confiscation to keep blacks from bearing arms. And the Republican Party wanted to give the blacks guns because, remember, they just made the blacks free citizens. And our fellow Republican, Martin Luther King Jr., had his house firebombed, and he requested a carry conceal license. It was denied. That was an era where most of the country was no issue. And even then you had to get on your knees and suck dick in order to get a carry conceal license. But a lot of the Democrats tried to stop blacks from getting guns because, don't forget, their terrorist wing, the Ku Klux Klan, needed to have disarmed victims. Interesting fact, Ann Coulter talked about it, I thought I'd just mention it. The worst anti-gun award goes to Mark Wahlberg. Okay. Now, why does Mark get this prestigious award? I'm wearing the Yankees because he's a Red Sox fan. Mark gets this distinguished award because he is the reason why we need guns. We need guns to protect ourselves from criminals, because criminals for some reason don't like disarmed victims. You know, they hate getting shot for some reason. But anyway, I'm also drinking my Ronald Reagan mug today. Anyway, Mark Wahlberg was a thug on the streets of Boston. He wasn't a tough guy. You ever seen the movie Fear with Reese Witherspoon? It's a good movie. They said the Southern Belle fell for the street smart Boston wise guy. He was or street tough guy or whatever the fuck. He's not. Mark Wahlberg is a fucking thug. Okay, he's a fucking thug. Not a tough guy. He's not a stand-up man. He's a fucking thug. Okay, we're gonna talk about that. When Mark Wahlberg was a kid, he drank, he did drugs, he fought, he stole. Okay, he couldn't even begin to tell you how many cars he stole. He never committed a carjacking to our knowledge, but he did a lot of fucking Grand Theft Auto. Carjacking means I take the car from you physically. Grand Theft Auto means I jump started while you have it parked in the street. Anyway, the movie Departed was a fictitious story that kind of, sort of, loosely got their inspiration from Whitey Bulger. When Mark Wahlberg was nominated for the Academy Award, the character he played in that movie was based on a character that arrested him, was based on a real-life cop that arrested him 25 times. Now, remember Lilo Brancato from Bronx Tale? He's from my hometown. When I was working in the supermarket, the cop we had on duty Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, we had a cop on duty to help with security, and on holidays too, a cop from the city, from our town, Yonkers. One day I'm in the break room with this cop, Tommy, and Tommy says to me, Lilo Brancato, this is after the murder. Lilo Brancato, I arrested him 6 times. Now, when a cop tells me he arrested you 6 times, how many times were you arrested by other cops? How many times did you do shit that should have been arrested, that you should have got arrested for, but you didn't get caught? Mark Wahlberg got arrested by one cop 25 times. How many times did other cops arrest him? How many times did he do other things and get away with it? By the way, Lilo Brancato, he and his girlfriend's father broke into a home to get drugs, get medicine because they're fucking junkies, and it was down in the Bronx. And a New York City cop was next door, off duty. he ran over to respond, and he was killed in a flaming shootout. Now, across the street, my mother's brother, my uncle, his girlfriend's daughter, husband, and 3 kids lived across the street from the house where Brancato and his girlfriend's father killed the cop. That's why I knew before the story made it big, because my father, for some reason, borrowed my car, picked me up for work at the supermarket at midnight, and said Lilo Brancato killed a cop today. Anyway, the most famous incident in Mark Wahlberg's life, remember when he was at that fucking stupid, what was that name of that group? He had all that fucking muscle on him. When Mark Wahlberg was 16, he was out with his friends, his fellow thugs, and he saw a blunt in the street. And he went to pick it up. Yeah, fucking gross. He smokes the blunt. He thought it was marijuana. It wasn't marijuana. It was PCP. Now, I've had cops tell me, you arrest a guy on PCP, a guy half my size could pick up a fucking refrigerator over his head and throw it. When you're on PCP, you feel no pain. I could take a fucking bat and whack you over the skull with it and bust your head open. You're still gonna fight. The minute the PCP wears off, you're gonna be in a shitload of pain. But people on PCP have had their legs broken, their heads busted, their arms broken, and they still fight. They flare their arms, they hop around on one leg. Okay, so Mark Wahlberg smokes his fucking blunt. He finds out the hard way it's PCP. Now, he wants beer. He's 16, he's a scumbag, and he's stoned. So, his conclusion is to pick up a fucking pipe, or a fucking pipe, or a pole, and he saw a Vietnamese guy, or some kind of Asian guy, walking around with a 6-pack of beer. Give me the fucking beer. Now, I said in my video about how to survive on robbery, if you're robbed, give it the fuck up. Okay? A 6-pack of beer is not worth your life. Especially when you're dealing with a dangerous dog like Mark Wahlberg. So, Wahlberg, 16-year-old kid now, takes his fucking pipe, and or pole, whatever the fuck it is, and he hits the guy in the head. Deadly force. Now, if I see that, if I'm out somewhere and I have a gun on me, and I see you hit a guy in the head with a pipe and take because you want his beer, I can legally kill you. With a knife, a gun, I can legally kill you. Now, I would be outnumbered several to 1, which might not be a smart idea, but if you have an armed citizen or a cop, and they see you pick up a fucking pole and hit a guy in the head with it, you can legally be shot dead on sight, no questions asked. Yeah. The cop was a minute or 2 late, unfortunately. Anyway, he takes the beer, the cops come, yeah, the cops fucking arrive. Well, if you're a cop in Boston, you know to follow Mark Wahlberg everywhere he goes. Cops are just arriving. He runs away, grabs another Asian guy, I don't know where the Asian guys are coming from, grabs another Asian guy, hides behind him, cop car drives by, he grabs the Asian guy, punches him in the face, runs away, he gets hauled in, and as he's being hauled away, he shouts out "gook," which is a curse word for a Vietnamese person. Nice guy. There was another incident where Mark Wahlberg threw some rocks at black kids and called them the N-word. He's such a nice guy. Piece of shit. Anyway, he goes to prison at 16. And while he's in prison, he's pumping iron. That's why he gets all those muscles. That's where he gets the muscles from. He gets out of prison, joins that fucking band where his underwear hangs out, becomes an actor, he gets married. Every once in a distant blue moon, he gets in trouble again. But compared to how he was years ago, he's a fucking saint compared to how he was years ago. We need firearms to protect ourselves from people like him. He is the reason why we need firearms. Remember, all anti-gun people are hypocrites. And he is the rule. He is the rule itself. He is the embodiment of the rule. Okay? He is a criminal. And he doesn't want you to have a gun because you're not able to protect yourself from his fellow criminals. Okay? If that Vietnamese guy, or whatever the fuck he was, or some other guy happened to have a gun, Massachusetts is very hard to get a carry and steal license. If they happened to have a gun on them, and they saw him, they could have legally shot him dead. Mark Wahlberg is a criminal. He's a thug. And like all the criminals and thugs, he's against your right to bear arms. Okay? He's a convicted felon, which means he can't buy a gun even if he wants to. So he's going to disenfranchise us. Even though he's not as fanatical as Sarah Brady or Eric Holder or other people that we're not going to mention because they're so disgusting, he wins the award for worst gun